So I gotta trim that. Hello everyone. Just doing a little prep work before I get into tonight's project. I got everything the way it needs to go. Hope everybody had a happy holiday. Mine was pretty good. And tonight we're going to do a couple unique special stitches in crochet. But first, what I want to show you, actually, that's not the right, yeah, that'll work. I'm going to show you how to get a finished edge on your chain. Moving it the wrong way. This edge here at the very bottom was our starting chain. And if you look, this is the edge of the fabric, not the front, not the back, but the edge. And you see how it's got a very nice finished look? How it's got like those V-stitches, which look just like the tops. This is the current working edge. So here's my loop. So this is the top of double crochet. They've got that V-stitch. Well, this is my chain, and to get that same V-stitch look, I'll show you what we're going to do. It's pretty simple, but it makes a difference if you're going to be making something and you're not going to put an edge on it. You're not going to do a decorative edge around it. If that's going to be your finished edge, or if you're doing a garment where this is going to be your finished edge, like a neckline or a hem, and you don't want to do a decorative stitch, this is like a built-in decorative stitch. And this is called crocheting into the back bump of the chain. So we're going to do our slip knot like normal. And again, as usual, if I'm going too fast, anybody watching, if I'm going too fast during the live stream, let me know and I can start over. So we've got simple, basic slip knot on our hook, like we're going to do basic beginning rows, and you're going to chain however many chains you need. I'm going to do 20. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, that was 17, 18, 19, 20. So I'm going to have 20 stitches. And I'm going to be doing single crochet into it, so we need one extra chain for our turning chain. Normally, when you learn to crochet, you look at the chain and you got these V's. But when you make the chain, you're actually creating 3 strands. It's a loop going through a loop. So you're going to have these 2 strands, but if you turn it onto the back, and I don't know how well this is going to show up, you've got a loop along the backbone of your chain, if that makes sense. So those are your backbone loops, and this is the V-stitches. Well, to get that finished look, we're not going to go into the V-stitches. We're going to go into our very first backbone loop, which takes some finagling. Even I have difficulty with it sometimes. And just go through that loop and do your simple, whatever stitch you need to do. If it's double crochet, if it's single crochet, whatever. And that's what you're going to do. For each one, you're just going to go through that back loop on that chain. If I hold it like this, there's a series of loops that form kind of like bumps along the back. Not the V's that you normally would. You're just going to go through the bumps or the back loops. And this takes some time. And they could be somewhat difficult because that loop tends to be a little tighter when you chain. You're just going to go through each one, working your way back to the beginning like you normally would when you would crochet into the foundation chain. The only difference is you're only going through that back loop and not through any of the front two loops of each chain. Regardless if it's this way or doing it the other way through one of the front ones, I'm always slow at it. A couple more to do. Got 3 or 4 more left. Again, I'm just putting in single crochets. I'm not doing any fancy stitches. And here we get the last one. And the last one's a little difficult, but you get it? Okay. Now, pointer tool. This edge here is your single crochet that we just did. And this edge here, closest to me, is the chain. And so that is the top of the single crochet. If we flip it, that is the edge of the chain. They look identical. That way, since you're not crocheting into the V's, that will leave those V stitches, they're not real stitches, but the V's of the chain will be your finished edge. Gives a cleaner look. Again, you don't have to do it that way, but if you are going for that finished look and you're not doing an extra border around your finished piece, you've got a built-in finished edge. Back to this. This piece here is all double crochet, but every other row is stitched in the back loop only. what does that mean? Okay, so this is the back of the material. This looks like regular ordinary double crochet. Here, and I don't know if it's going to show up, it shows up more when you move the fabric. You'll notice we've got a row of double crochet, another row, but between the second row and our third row, because there's a third row here, there's like a ridge. Well, that ridge is formed with the stitch I'm going to show you here in a second. That is formed by only going through one of the loops of the previous row. You could do it on every row. You'll have the ridge on each side of the fabric. But the examples I'm going to show you, it's going to be only on one side, so you'll know if you have a right or a wrong side of the fabric. So this is the wrong side, and this just looks like double crochet. Just row after row. Here, you can kind of see there's a little ridge of yarn, and another one. I'll show you how to do that. So we're doing double crochet, so we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to turn our work. There's 2 ways to turn. You turn it whatever works for you. There is a theory that you turn it a certain way, it's going to give a more neater, straighter edge. That if you do your chain and then you turn it towards you like that, this chain could twist. But we're going to try a new way. We're going to turn it away from us, meaning this is the row we had. We did our chain, and we're going to turn it like that. It's going to twist it less. I don't have an example of one or the other, but you'll have to take my word for it. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do a row of double crochet. Regular, ordinary double crochet, just to build up the fabric. Just so I'm not having a narrow strip to demonstrate on. So this is not the back loop, this is going through both loops, regular, ordinary double crochet. Missed the stitch, but it's all right. Last one. Okay, we've done regular double crochet. Nothing different. So we're going to chain 3, because this all of it's going to be double crochet. So you're going to chain 3, and so instead of flipping it this way, we're going to flip it under like that. And now we're going to do the back loop only. So we're going to take a second and we're going to look again at that edge. You've got those V's, and your turning chain is going to be to one side, and you see all these little V's lined up. You got a front loop and a back loop. We're not going to go into this very first V because that's where the chain is coming out of. But we're going to go to the next one like you normally would. We're going to wrap over because we're doing a double crochet. And instead of going under both loops on that chain of that stitch. See how there's two on the hook right there? So instead of doing that, we're only going to go through the back one. How well I'm going to be able to show you. So you got the front one closest to me and the back one. So you're only going to go under the back one, pick it up, and then finish your stitch. You're going to do that for each one. So it's back loop only. And by doing this, you're not entering that first front loop. Those front loops will create that little ridged effect on your row. We're going to stop here and I'm going to show you what I've done. So I've done a bunch of stitches, maybe about 8 or 9 stitches. And you can already see, if I move it, it's forming a ridge there. That can be a decorative stitch. And it also, you could feel it, it's a texture. So it's an extra feature if that's a stitch that you wanted. And this doesn't have to be double crochet. You could do this with single, you can do this with half double, you can do this with treble. You can do this with any of your more complex stitches, which we haven't got to. And I'm thinking about doing videos or streams highlighting some popular complex stitches. Because again, let's go back to the very beginning of the month and our streams about basic stitches. All crochet is built on a handful of stitches. Those stitches are chain stitch, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, and triple crochet, and rare occasion half triple. We don't really do that often. So we've gone all the way through, and again, we've got our ridge. So if all of our all crochets is based off of those handful of basic fundamental stitches, you can combine those stitches in different ways to make more complex stitches. In the coming weeks, we'll be doing some of those more intricate stitches. So we've done a row in the back loop only. So now we're going to do another row, regular ordinary crochet. We're basically replicating this gray sample. So that means if their next row is going to be double crochet, we need to chain 3. Let's turn our work. And we're just going to double crochet into every stitch, normal double crochet. You're going, when each time you put the hook in, you're going under both the front and back loops of those stitches. So the pattern I'm coming up with now is every other row is regular double crochet, and then those opposite rows are double crochet and back loop only. That's just the pattern I've decided. Couple more stitches to do. Okay. Oh, I need to finish off that stitch. Let me do a little counting first to make certain I did that right. I'm probably increasing. Somehow I increased. Oh well. It's all good. So now our next row is going to be double crochet in the back loop only. So we're going to chain 3. We're going to do exactly what we did the previous row. Flip, go into the back loop of that first stitch. So my thumb and middle finger are on that first stitch. You could see that there's the V. We're only going to go through under the back loop. Back loop only. That will form that ridge. Stitches. Get to the end of the row, I'll show you. Oh, okay. Got our ridge from the first one we did, and now our second one. And then if we flip our work, it looks just like single, regular double crochet. So that is a good detail to do on it's really a good feature for if you're gonna do a solid color, or you can actually change colors too with this. But a good feature for a stocking cap to have that ridge feature. If you're gonna make a sweater, that could be a couple rows from the hem or the cuffs, or a blanket or a scarf. It could be for anything you want, but it adds a nice little detail that's real simple to do, and it's not a fancy stitch, but it adds some interest. Okay. We're going to use the same sample piece, or the same project piece that we're using here, but we're going to change it up. We're going to do something called front post crochet. And front post crochet is just this row right here. Not, and I should have a piece of paper handy to block it. If I have anything I could use. So it's not anything there. It's just this row here. And it's got like almost a cable effect to it. Like if you're doing a cable knit, even though this is not knit, this is crochet. But this texture here, I'm going to show you how I achieve that. Still keep our sample in frame. All of it, all today is going to be double crochet. So I'm going to chain 3. That was 1, 2, and 3. Flip our work. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a row of normal double crochet, just so all of our decorative stitches are going to be on the same side. Okay, that was a row of double crochet, and now we're going to chain 3 and flip. Now we're doing front post double crochet. So we're not going to do anything to our stitch here on the end here. We're going to focus on this first stitch. Oh, wrong way. We're going to focus on this stitch here. That guy right there. I got to check one thing. Oops. So we're going to focus on that very first stitch, but it's the upright part, not the part you normally would stitch into. So we're going to wrap our yarn because it's double crochet, and we're not going to go into the tops of the stitches, but we're going to go deal with the post of the stitch. So you're going to go into that space behind that first post and come up. So normally you would go into the top of the stitch. We're not going into the top. We're going to go behind the post, or the upright, the vertical part of the stitch that was formed. You're going to yarn over, bring through, 3 on the hook, yarn over, bring through 2, yarn over, bring through 2, like a normal double crochet. Now we're going to do the same thing. Actually, what I did on the sample here is I would do a front post, a regular crochet, and a front post. That's what we're going to do. So in the next stitch, you're going to go into the top of the stitch like a normal double crochet. And now this one, again, each time you're going to wrap your yarn because they're double crochet, and you're going to go behind the post. So you've already put a stitch above this one. You're going to go to the next one, which is the one here. You're going to go behind it, all the way behind it, yarn over, and bring through, and then finish your double crochet. This next one, we're going to alternate. This is a regular one, so that goes into the top of the stitch, and then this one is a front post. It's front post because the post of the stitch is going in front of your hook. And you just finish off like you normally would. So the only difference is where you put the hook to start the stitch. So that was a front post, and now we're going to do a regular one, which means into the top of the stitch. And now it's a front post. So wrap, go, put the post of the stitch in front of your hook, yarn over, pull through, finish your stitch. That's all that a front post double crochet is. You could do this with triple crochets also. You rarely ever see this with a single crochet. I don't see why you couldn't, but it would be kind of difficult to do, and your finished look would be really, really tight, even if you're a loose crocheter. I just did a regular normal crochet right here. Now we're going to do a front post behind the next stitch. So you're going to put the hook in so the post goes in front of the hook. Yarn over, bring through, finish like normal. The next one is going to be a regular one. You could do all front posts if you wanted to. I'm just going to demonstrate this to show a pattern. This next one's a front post. So I've already wrapped the yarn. Put it in and under the post. Yarn over, bring through. Finish your double crochet as normal. This next one is a regular. This next one's going to be a front post. You could change up your pattern however you want, or whatever the pattern that you're following will tell you to do. And so far what we've made is we've done that. And the only difference is some of them, they're normal, they're going into the top of the stitch. And then the other ones, every other one, is going behind the post of the stitch. So it gives that raised, textured look. And I'm just going to finish my row. Couple more left. And that is front post double crochet alternating with regular double. We're going to do a row of regular crochet just to, like I said, to break it up. if I can get my yarn to work. Again, chain 3. I'm having trouble chaining. Flip the work. Well, actually, let's flip it that way. It's been doing the way that we have been doing. Again, this is just regular, ordinary double crochet. Nothing spectacular. Last, how about last stitch? Got a chain 3 and turn. And now we're going to do something called back post double crochet. So we're going to wrap the yarn because it's double. And instead of making the post go in front of the hook, you're going to make the post go behind the hook. That can make sense. So front post is like this. It's sitting on top of the hook. Back post is you're going like this, and the post is on the back side. Same thing, yarn over. This could be a little tricky. Oops. Hold on a second. I'm going to do one regular crochet here just to start that. And now I can do back post. So you're going to be going behind the fabric. You're not going to go on top and then behind. You're going to go behind the fabric because you just did this stitch here. You just did that stitch. So you're going to go from the back through this hole and then down the next hole. So from the back, so it comes up and then down the next hole. So we've got the post on the back of the hook, yarn over, bring it through, and then you're going to finish off the stitch as normal. And then the next stitch will be a regular one, and the next will be a back post. So again, wrap your yarn from behind the fabric, up the hole, over, and then down into the next hole. And it helps, I pinch the fabric with my left hand, my thumb and middle finger, wrap or yarn over, and now we have 3 on the hook, and just treat it like a regular double crochet. So the next one's a regular one, and the next one's a back one. And what this is going to look like is this row here. It's got a totally different look to it. It's essentially the opposite side of what we did before. And when I get to the end of this row, I'll flip it and show what it's supposed to look like. Welcome, whoever's joining. We're just right now doing back post, double crochet. We just did front post. Got a couple more stitches and then I will stop and show what we have done. And we're going to end that. Okay. So this row here was the previous one we did. That was front post, alternating with regular. This was back post, alternating with regular. Now if I flip this over, that is the back side of front post, and that's the back side of back post. They look identical because they pretty much are. Because when you're going to the front, when you're going to the back. And when you flip it, it's opposite the other. Now we're going to do another row of regular, ordinary, boring, double crochet. I shouldn't say boring, but easy double. Welcome everybody who's joining. Okay. Now what we're going to do is front and back post. And that is this row here. So we did front alternating with regular. This was back alternating with regular. Now we're going to alternate front and back. So no more regular for this next row. So we're going to chain up 3, flip, and we're going to go, we're going to do front post for this one, the first one. So you're going to make it so it was in front. And now we're going to do back post. So you're going to go from the behind the fabric up and over. So now the post is on the back. Yarn over, finish your stitch. Now this is a front, so you're gonna wrap, put it under the first post, the next post, so it's front post, yarn over, bring through, and finish your stitch. Now we're doing back. So you're gonna go, the hook's gonna go to the back, in, up and over, yarn over, bring it through, then finish like you would normally finish the stitch. So now we're going to do a front. The easiest way you can remember that is with the front, your hook is going over the front of your work, what's facing you, and then the post will be in front of the hook, as opposed to a back loop, which we're going to do now. You've wrapped, but you're going to put it behind your work, put it in, and then the post is in back of the hook. Yarn over, bring it up, and then complete the stitch. This here, doing alternating front and back post, is a really good way to create a ribbing effect for a stocking cap or cuffs on a sweater, because it adds a little bit of extra bulkiness, and it doesn't really make it tighter. It makes it a little bit tighter, the finished work, but I'll show you here once I get a little bit further along. It kind of has a slightly elastic quality to it. Not much, but like I said, it's a good way to use if you want ribbing on the brim of a hat or on the cuffs or a hem of a sweater. Almost to the end of the row. Got a front post we're going to do, and then we're going to do the back post. Okay. So now that row is front and back post, and I mean it all has a stretch to it, but this kind of tightens it up a little. Almost elastic, not really. So I showed you how to make a finished edge when working into a chain, and that goes for any type of stitch you're going to do. If you're just going to do singles, double, whatever, if you're going to, doesn't matter what the rest of it looks. If you want that edge, that beginning edge to look a little more finished, there's that technique. There is the back loop only, which forms this slight raised ridge along the row of stitches. And then we did front post, back post, and then a combo of the two. Anybody have any questions? Move that out of the way. Well, again, to recap, one more time, we did the finished chain edge, the back loop, like I just said, front post, back post, and then front and back post together. So that's like the beginning of your specialty stitches, apart from your regular, ordinary, single, double, etc. To remind everybody that I have my socials are down below. I've got YouTube, where all of my previous streams are uploaded to. I have Twitch, and I have Instagram. I need to post more on there. I'm pretty bad about that. Like I said, as it is now, Thinking 8 o'clock is a good time. I think we're going to keep that 8 o'clock on the days that I stream, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. The next week or so, there's going to be some more individual stitches we're going to look at, with some other things besides crochet, which I'm still brainstorming. But again, come the beginning of January, not the first week of January, but that second week of January is when we're going to start a long-term project. So keep your eyes out for that, and you all have a good evening.